Right guys, welcome back to Neo Racing. We are round 7. We are at Nurburgring Sprint for a 45-minute endurance, which will be 31 laps. Nice weather on this one today. Got Neil Stig on pole, Bidster second, Neil third, TY fourth. That's your top 4 as we get ready to start this race. Bidster just needs to back off there, get back in line, which he is doing. Ready for the lights to go out, and they're out. Away we go. Everyone's away well, working down towards the Castrol S hairpin at the bottom. As they go down, we're looking at Bidster currently. As everyone folds into the first corner, a little bit of contact at the back with Danny Quaver. Oh, camera's gone haywire. Everyone out of field, contact between Stevie and someone else further back. Didn't see what that, but we'll get a replay after this first lap. As we work his way around through the stadium section. And so there's TY in 4th. Camera's quite zoomed in at the minute, unfortunately, but it should alter itself. We've got Neil Stig still ahead of Neil. Bidster's gone back to 3rd into the first corner. Neil Stig is lagging a hell of a lot though. Neil's not going to be wanting to go anywhere near him with that amount of lag, which will not help his cause, as we've got 2 cars side by side. That's Jamo having a little look up the inside of Flapper, but Flapper keeps the position for now. So he's been a good first lap so far. There's Danny Quaver back in this championship. Now someone spun off in the background. Who was that? It's Stevie. Stevie spun round in the background, unfortunately. Coming out of bit curve as we go into the Vidal chicane. Stig out in front, trying to build a lead. Let's have a look a bit further back. We've got TY there, fending off Flapper, who's on the move now. Let's have a look. There's Jamo and Danny Quaver for 6th and 7th places as we complete the first lap. Here's a replay of the first corner incident on lap 1 on board with RZR Blade. Oh, flying Flapper just comes through. Everyone on the brakes, not running into each other, and then you see Footman gets hit by Flapper, and then unfortunately goes into Stevie, and then RZR gives him a little boost saying, there you go, get on with it, mate. So that's what happened in the first corner. Here's a replay of the incident on turn 1 of the first lap. See Danny Quaver touches Footman there, and Flapper's on the inside. You see Flapper come across, hit Footman, and Footman consequently hit Stevie, and then Stevie hits Flapper, and then RZR Blade gives him a little tap to say, there you go mate, get on with it. As we look at Neil Farmack coming into the first corner, the Castrol S hairpin, and then into the Mercedes Arena. Lovely section of track this, but awful if you get it wrong. We've got some cars side by side in the background. We've got Footman and Danny Quaver side by side a bit further back. Let's have a look. Oh, 2 cars off at the first corner. Who's that? Wait till the camera corrects itself. What's happening here? I'm sure we'll get some replays on that because the cameras were acting up. Here's a replay of what happened at the start of lap 2. We saw it happen in the background. As he blatantly just completely outbrakes himself and bang! Nowhere to go. Jay Houston was in the way and then knocks him round, and then blatantly takes to the gravel and has to rejoin. So that's what happened. Meanwhile, Neil Stig spun as well. Neil Stig spun round, he's waiting for a gap to rejoin as everyone else goes through, and he's rejoining now in 8th place. Unlucky for Neil Stig there, made a mistake as Footman and Danny Quaver come to battles, and Danny Quaver ends up going through the gravel at the hairpin. As we look at... Here's what happened to Neil Stig on the second lap. Goes over the curb, you see the car twitch and then bang, sends him the other way. Just that's what happened, just a little tank slapper over the curb, and then everyone else really lucky to avoid him there. Waits for a decent gap, rejoins in 8th place. As we look at Flying Flapper, unfortunately the cameras are quite zoomed in on this, so which I'll try and resolve if I can, but can't help what the cameras are doing, as we've got Neil in the lead now, stretching out a gap over Bidster in 2nd place now. As the camera catches up, there we go. Into the Vidal chicane they go. There's Bidster with TY right behind him. Apologies for the cameras on these ones, ladies and gentlemen, it just the game seems to like to zoom them in. Unfortunately as well, at the end of this race, it cuts the race short at 29 laps, unfortunately. The replay didn't save properly, so hopefully Slightly Mad Studios and Project Cars 2 can sort that for us for next time. As we complete lap 2 onto lap 3, we're looking at the battle between Neo Stig and Danny Quaver, working his way back up the field. Oh, Danny Quaver's running wide. I think he's letting Neil Stig go through because he knows Neil Stig's going to be on a lot more pace than he is, and just decides to let him go, doesn't bother fighting. And Neil Stig gains one position. There's Jamo in 5th place, trying to catch Flying Flapper and TY ahead of him. All a bit more strung out now, but let's have a little bit further back. Here's Jay Hewson, the second Team Orange car. He's back in 10th place, so he's not really got to grips with the Audi yet as such. See, twitching a lot there as they go through that corner there. There's Neil Stig on the move, working his way back up the field. He's done past league racing, done loads of league racing in the past, so he's a very, very quick driver, almost too quick. But there's TY in 3rd, coming up behind Bidster, so Bidster's off the pace a little bit here as they come up towards the Coca-Cola curve, the last corner. It's a good little short track, this Nurburgring sprint, as Neil's got a 2.5 second lead now over these two, and everyone else just a bit more spread out. Hopefully it'll get a bit more interesting as the race goes on, but we'll just stick with this little TY Bidster scrap here into the Castrol S hairpin. Flapper closing up on the brakes, so Flapper's got the brakes nailed down well on that car. Bidster runs a bit wide out of that corner. It is a very, very hard car to get stopped, this car. It feels very squirmy at the back when you turn in, and it's very hard to sense the front end grip as well once you transition off the brakes. But it is a lovely car and track combination. A lot of people like the car. It's a nice car to drive as they come out of the hairpin and through RTL curve and then bit curve. Through bit now. TY still closing up very slowly as we've got Footman there, who's about to come under pressure from this man Neil Stig, who's trying to make up for that mistake he made earlier, flashing his lights. Say I'm on my way as they go through, and then we've got Footman ahead, so let's see how Neil Stig deals with all this over the curbs. I'd say Neil Stig's got that car working very, very well on the brakes. He's worked hard on that setup, I think. As he closes up on Footman, he should be able to get in the draft. Probably have a look up the inside. But Footman goes slightly defensive though, just not letting him go easily, but Neil Stig's up the inside. Footman's coming across the no sunshine and goes straight into Jamo. Bang, straight into Jamo. Jamo turns round, but I think Footman, once the camera sorts itself out, come on camera, yeah, I think, yeah, Jamo's gone rally crossing for some strange reason. I don't know why, but well, he's rejoining there next to RZR Blade. So Footman, I think, realised what he did wrong there, backed right off as he hit Jamo. So unlucky there for Footman, and even more unlucky for Jamo being the innocent victim and all that. But Neil Stig's up to 5th place now. On the move, he's got his teammate next, Flying Flapper, to catch and pass, and then it's TY Bidster and Neil. We're all still a bit more spread out. TY's still on the back of Bidster, but it looks like Bidster's being able to pick up the pace a little bit, just to try and keep that gap at about a second as they come into the Vidal chicane. Bidster abusing those curbs. Ever flamboyant style from Bidster, as you'll see. TY smooth as silk. Being very careful with the car, very careful with the tyres as well. Everyone running the harder compound tyre in this race to try and get the tyre to the end, because the softs were running out after about 5 or 6 laps, so by now the soft tyres will be absolutely toast as they come down towards the Castrol S hairpin. And out of it, Bidster takes a wide line there, and TY tends to duck back in. Just different driving styles, different lines, but both proving to be quite effective as we go through this Mercedes arena. Such a slow section of track compared to the rest of the circuit. And out of that corner, you've got to be really careful not to get the power on too early and catch that curb, otherwise you'll end up spinning round. Very hard bit of track to get used to. So let's have a look a little bit further back at what's going on. Let's have a look at Jamo there in 8th place. He's trying to catch RZR Footman, who is 2.1 seconds ahead. Footman's 3 seconds behind. I've only just found out you can actually keep that thing up at the top. So we've got the laps and who we're watching and the gap from front to back and the position. So found out we can actually keep that on screen. So let's have a look at Danny Quaver. Doing well in 6th place. Good showing from Danny. Still getting used to Project Cars 2 goes very wide on that curb. Still getting used to the game, and it's hard for him to find time to get on for these races, which is understandable. But he's very committed when he is on. He's a good driver, and he's getting better and better. He used to spend his time at the back of the pack. Now he's in the middle of it. So good for Danny Quaver. Good showing the pace. Jamo's closing back up to the back of RZR Blade slowly. So he's ditched Footman, who decided to have a bit of a pummeling manoeuvre on, decided to pummel into the side of his car. But all's well that ends well, as Footman backed off, let him go, did the sportsman thing, as we have a look at Neo Stig, catching, Flying Flapper. I wonder what they'll do now, because obviously these two are teammates. Both in the same livery car. As Flying Flapper goes around the hairpin, Neo Stig's closing up behind him. So I wonder if there's going to be any sort of team orders here. Will Neo Stig get the go ahead to pass Flapper and get past him, and then try and catch TY and Bidster? I would imagine so. Yep, Flying Flapper just completely moves to the side. Team orders in play, and lets Neo Stig go. It's a shame they didn't have a little battle there. But, well, they want to try and do what's best for Team Red, I suppose. And Neo Stig's on his way now to catch TY and Bidster. Flying Flapper will try and stay with him, try and pull him, and Neo Stig will try and pull him along. But look, you see, he's already gapping Flapper as it is. So that's what happens when you get about a week to spend on your setup. See the difference. If they come out that corner, Neo Stig he's pulled out a second on him already, and that's only from the chicane. So Neo Stig's on the move as we look at Neil Farmack in 1st place. We've got a 4-second gap over these boys. Doesn't look like 4 seconds, but it is. And over Bidster and TY are still battling. So Bidster not really able to make any inroads in towards Neil, but he's still got TY all over the back. As we have a look a bit further back here, we've got RZR battling with Danny Quaver as they come out of the hairpin and into the Mercedes arena. RZR going for a little cutback, trying to see if he can put Danny off in his mirrors, but there's no way you're going to do that. As they come out of that corner, out of the arena, Danny Quaver runs a bit wide there, doesn't want to leave himself too vulnerable. As they go into the hairpin at the bottom, oh, Danny Quaver's run wide, he's got to be careful, he's gone really wide. And RZR side by side with him now. Danny decides to let him go. Not worth battling because he ran too wide at that previous corner and was careful not to come back across and cut him off as such. We've got a little 4-car train happening here for 6th place. So you can see that Jamo and Footman have joined the train as they go through the fast little kink on the straight up towards the VTOL chicane. As we have a quick look at TY and Bidster, close as ever. TY with his lights ablaze. Bidster goes defensive. TY's having a look round the outside. Side by side on the brakes, almost hit each other. TY locks up slightly. Bidster's probably running a bit of a lower brake pressure, or just being more careful on the brake pedal as they go into the Mercedes arena. We'll have a quick look at this battle here, and nothing seems to be developing there too much. So we'll have a little look back at this battle. Bidster and TY, half a second in it, and they've got Neo Stig closing them down slowly as they go in towards the hairpin. Onto the brakes. Oh, Bidster's lost the back end! Bidster's lost the back end under braking. And Neo Stig goes through as well. So Bidster's lost the rear end under brakes, tried too hard and lost the back end, and he's now going to try and catch up to TY and Neo Stig again and not get caught out by this man, Flying Flapper, who's behind. But let's have a look. Behind, a bit on for 6th place, RZR Blade there in 6th place, Danny Quaver 7th, and Jamo and Footman have gone a little bit further back, so they've lost contact with this little train here. And there's Jay Hewson in a bit of a battered Audi. He's had a few little run-ins in this race, but all's okay so far, as Stevie is Stevie and Blakely running close together near the back, so that's one to watch out for later on in the race, as we've got Bidster with Flying Flapper closing up to the back of him. Got to be careful not to leave himself too exposed. As they go in towards the Castrol S hairpin, Neo Stig's already going round that in third place on the trying to catch TY up. There he is, and there's TY for Team Blue. I know it's a black, I know it's a majority black car, but there wasn't a blue option, so they had to have a one with a little tinge of blue on. So currently a blue 1-2 at the minute. Team Red third, Team Orange fourth for Bidster, Team Red fifth for Flying Flapper. As we go into the hairpin, still looking at TY with Neo Stig closing up. Coming in towards RTL curve and then bit curve, which leads onto the straight. There's Neo Stig just behind. The car's jerking around a lot. I don't know whether that's lag or setup, or he's jerking the car through the corner, but whatever he's doing, it's working. And he's catching TY up. As we've got two cars very close here, RZR Blade with Danny Quaver all over the back of him now, so Danny's caught up to RZR Blade a bit, so I don't know whether RZR's made a mistake or not, but oh, there goes Danny making a mistake into the gravel, gets it out, recovers it, but he's lost a load of time there, and he's got Jamo closing up as well, who will have the overspeed. We're watching to the chicane, see what happens here. Will Jamo have a little dive up the inside? Low, close, but no cigar, as they go through the chicane and out of it when the camera catches up. There we go. Coming through Coca-Cola curve at the last corner onto the start-finish line. Let's have a look. TY has got Neo Stig behind him now, and Bidster when the camera decides to wake up. Apologies for the camera work, ladies and gentlemen. It's just how it runs on this game. And there's Bidster with Flying Flapper all over the back of him as well. But let's resume this battle down here. I think it's very close. Danny Quaver and oh, Jamo's got ahead, so we missed that. We'll get a replay as Danny has a little look now at Jamo after that pass, but to no avail as they go down towards the hairpin. Let's have a look at TY with Neo Stig behind him. Let's see if TY can keep Neo Stig back as we go into the chicane. This is a good test for Neo Stig. Can't just start from pole and go straight for it all the time. Sometimes you've got to have a battle. It's a fitting name, Neo Stig, because he was part of Neo Racing, but it was just a coincidence that he actually picked the Neo name. But here we go, he goes up the inside. Look at the braking power of Neo Stig. TY did not have a chance there under brakes at all. So Neo Stig moves up the inside of TY. The braking power was just absolutely insane and off the scale there, so I don't know what Neo Stig's done to that car, but it's working. As he's now on the move trying to catch Neil. Never seen an overtake that easy in my life. As Bidster comes through in fourth place, he's still got Flying Flapper all over the back of him. There he is, Flying Flapper all over the back. As we look at Jamo and Danny Quaver, Jamo and then Footman and Danny Quaver battling in the background. As Jamo runs a bit wide there, don't want to leave himself too vulnerable for the exit of the Mercedes arena, but gets away with it. Footman's closing up though. You can see Footman had the optimal line there. You can see the car closing. Jamo's going to have to defend now as Footman will be up the inside. He just holds the middle of the road. He doesn't need to go completely defensive, otherwise he'll have no run out of the corner. So just covers the middle off and covers it off nicely. Resumes 7th place. No change so far as we've got Flying Flapper all over the back of Bidster now. So Bidster's falling back. He's not really got any. He's lost pace ever since that spin. So whether the car's evolved and it's just not to his liking at the minute, or it's just another problem, but Bidster is going backwards here into the clutches of Flying Flapper, so he's got to be careful not to get caught out. As we have a little look at, here we are, RZR Blade, and there's Jamo in the background with Footman all over the back of him. So Footman's having a look. Don't hit each other this time, boys. As we go in out of Coca-Cola curve across the line, we're on lap 12 now. We're on lap 12. Jamo is ahead. in 7th place. Footman all over the back. Will Jamo defend this time? Just a tad, just a little bit, just enough to cover it off. And Footman goes up the inside. We've got RZR Blade spun. RZR Blade spun there, so he must have had a mistake coming out of the corner. Put the gas on too early, I would imagine. Here's a replay of what happened to RZR Blade on lap 13. He goes into the first corner, turns in very early, goes over the curb, and then puts the power on the rear and just comes around on him. Then he has to wait for Jamo, Footman, Danny Quaver to go through, and Jay Hewson before he can get it turned round and back in the race. As we now still keep with this little battle here, Footman, and then we've got Jamo, Footman and Danny Quaver all battling it out for these few positions as we head down towards the little hairpin that takes us back up. It's the sprint circuit, so it's the short version. Used to use it in the DTM back in the day. Lovely little track. As we've got Neo Stig catching up Neil slowly up front, and we've got Bidster's Flying Flappers past Bidster. Bidster's gone backwards, so we'll get a replay of what happened to Bidster. As we resume the battle for 6th, 7th place. Watching Footman coming out of the chicane with Jamo just ahead. He's just moving the car out, just trying to put a little bit of pressure on, showing the car in his mirror. As they go out onto the straight, now he'll be in a draft. Remember, there's no horsepower advantage, everyone's running the same car in this championship for the duration. It's a different car each week, but everyone's in the same one as they come into the Castrol last hairpin. Oh, very close under braking. Jamo keeps to the inside to defend for the next corners in the Mercedes arena. Footman trying to keep with him round the outside, but I don't think that's going to work. Is he going to cut back to the inside? Jamo says, no you don't, sunshine. I've seen that move done before. Cuts him straight off. Doesn't allow that to happen. As they come out of the Mercedes arena now towards the hairpin, as Footman makes a little error there. Danny Quaver's going to have a little sniff here, saying, do that again please. I might have a chance next time now I'm this close. As they come through the hairpin, out to the other side, up towards RTL and bit curve. Danny Quaver, a little twitch out of that last corner there. So he's just made a little error there. He's just lost himself a couple of tenths of a second. That's all it takes usually. Let's have a little look further back. We've got Jay Hewson here. He's catching up to this fray slowly as well. So they're all holding each other up. So let's have a look at the front lot of this. Jamo, we're on Jamo now when the camera decides to wake up and see what it's going to do. There we go. Into the VTOL chicane. Let's see how abusive he is on these curbs. Not very at all. Trying to keep the tyres in prime condition towards the end of the race. And he's defending now, defending hard. Footman's trying, putting up on the pressure. He's still on the outside. Jamo's just going to, all Jamo needs to do now is run his racing line, run him out. And then down the straight, Footman's going to have a serious look here. Jamo defends to the inside. Footman's having a look round the outside now, but it's the wrong side. On the brakes, it's a battle of the brakes. Jamo's got the inside, Footman's got to be careful. They're still side by side. He's gone round the outside. He's now got the inside for the arena. Fantastic move by Footman there. Good little scrap going on here. Jamo's up the inside though. He's up the inside. He says, no you don't, sunshine. I bite back. As they come into the exit, Jamo has to leave it wide because he didn't know how close Footman were to him. Glorious battle between these two here, good racing. And this is what you can expect from Neo Racing. We are all very close and competitive. And we love a good scrap. We don't like it when people finish 22 seconds ahead. We like it when people get in a nice scrap and have to earn the victory. Or earn the place. Wherever you might be up and down the field, it's all worth fighting for because points go down to last place anyway. So every single point counts in this championship, and we all love doing it. We run the races every Thursday on 8 o'clock GMT time, and it's really, really good racing. As we've got a car coming into the pits, Danny Quaver, and I can tell you what that is. He's run out of fuel. He's not put enough fuel in for the race, so I know that because he told me after. So, yeah, Danny Quaver into the pits to refuel, so that's his race more or less done as he was just getting into that scrap. So that's very unlucky there for Danny Quaver. as we continue looking at the Footman Jamo scrap. Closest battle on track at the moment. So Bidster's not anywhere near trying to catch up Flying Flapper yet, so he's still running his own race, and everyone else is up front as well. No one really that close to each other. Neo Stiggs took a second off Neil in a couple of laps, so towards near the end of the race he'll be on the back of Neil, I would imagine, as we continue to watch this battle unfold of Footman and Jamo. Jamo and Stevie, Team Yellow, but unfortunately there wasn't a yellow car, so they had to pick one with the yellow wing mirrors. And the Hot Wheels yellow logo there as well. But still, as long as you're in the same team car and we can recognise it, everything's all good. As they come down the straight, let's have a little look out front. Here's Neo Stig, battling through the traffic now. Danny Quaver's come out the pits in traffic, so he's being lapped now, Danny Quaver, unfortunately. So Neo Stig's on the move there, trying to catch Neil Farmack, this man, who was just ahead of him hitting that curb, and there's Neo Stig hitting the same one. So as they come through out of the Mercedes arena down towards the hairpin. And then we've got TY there a little bit further back. He's got Danny Quaver just to lap now, just ahead of him. And then we've got Bidster. Then we've got Flying Flapper, in fourth place, just coming around the Mercedes arena now, and Bidster just going around the same bit also, just a bit further back. And then we've got the Footman Jamo little scrap here, but that's kind of extended a bit. They've all extended the gap on each other a little bit there, so it's all starting to spread out a little bit now as the pace comes to all the drivers and the field for the car. And just to remind you that the race did cut itself short at 29 laps, unfortunately. The replay failed to save properly and we lost the last 2 laps. So, but don't worry, when it comes to that I will tell you what happened, as we've got Neo Stig now under a second behind Neil, coming down towards the first corner, the Castrol S hairpin. Got TY flashing his lights at Danny in the background just to let him know that he's approaching him into the first corner. Neil's doing a fantastic job so far to keep this race pace up. Neo Stig's gone from a little spin down to 8th and come back up to 2nd as they go round the Mercedes arena. I wouldn't be surprised if Neo Stig catches and passes Neil here, because his pace has been off the scale. And then again, Neo Stig has done other leagues in the past. He's done a few esports thing as well, so he knows what he's doing, spends a lot of time on this game, whereas most of us in here come on straight from work and we don't really have much time to practice. But I suppose if you've got the time to practice, do it. We all try and get on when we can. So I would imagine Neo Stig will be past Neil. Oh, he's going to be past him now. Neil's made a mistake. Neil's made an error. He's got to leave some space. Neo Stig's up the inside and through into the lead. All he needs to do now is keep the car to the left to defend, which he does a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised now if Neo Stig pulls away. And Neil down to 2nd place. So it's going to be Neil Farmack and TY for Team Blue, 2nd and 3rd at the minute, as Neo Stig pulls out. And there's Bidster randomly flashing his lights. Just saying to Flying Flapper, I'm coming to get you, but it's just going to take me a little bit longer because I've got a 4-second gap to try and close up. As we have a look at the background, there's Footman in the background and Jamo and Jay and who's that? That's Blakeney in 12th who we're about to lap. That's Footman there, and Blakeney's just ahead. The car that we're about to lap, still struggling with pace, Blakeney, in this championship, but I'm sure we'll see him bounce back towards the end, or maybe even next season. Next season's championship will be a vote. We are either going to do an open wheel series or we are going to do a complete variety series. So we'll have a vote on the Neo Racing page which all drivers will vote for. So it's at the end of the day, it's what we want as drivers. Neil's still sticking with Neo Stig, he's not letting go. So good old Neil, keeping it up, trying to keep up with Neo Stig. He's not let it go over a second yet, so he's still doing pretty good there. There's Flying Flapper in 4th place, still running his own race in 4th. Bidster a bit 4 seconds back, trying to catch that man in front of him, Flying Flapper, but not to no avail so far. Still trying to keep up with a decent pace, as Footman and Jamo are still under a second apart, so just over a second apart. As we look into the hairpin. Oh, a little slide there from Footman. As you can see, the rear tyres are just starting to go. As we're just over halfway in this race, lap 19 of 31. Like I said earlier, the replay did cut itself short on lap 29, but I'll fill you in when we get to that stage. As we look at Jamo now behind, and you can see Jay Hewson just there in the background coming out of the bit curve. Coming down the straight, trying to catch up to these lot in front. He could do with another couple of positions to boost Team Orange's hopes for the team's championship. Obviously Team Blue got a massive lead so far, but they still want to try and battle Team Yellow, who are in third place at the minute. So need to try and keep some good points on the board. As TY's only 3 seconds off the lead now, so I wonder if Neil Stig and Neil are still trying to hold each other up a bit. As yes, Neil there is still, he's only 6/10 behind Neil Stig. You see him on this next shot as it comes out as we come out here. There we are. Neil Stig's still got Neil all over the back of him, so he's not shook him off yet. As we look a bit further back, let's have a look at RZR Blade. He's trying to catch up to the back of Jay Houston and that, but he's got Blakeney to lap now. Blakeney's having a torrid race in that white Audi. Let's have a look at him. There he is. He's trying, but to no avail at the minute. Hopefully in a couple of races he'll be able to get some better speed out. As he moves over to the side, lets RZR Blade lap him, and then continues round on his way. As we look at Footman in 6th place, and then Jay Hewson there. Ooh, a little bit of grass on the way into the corner there. You don't want to do that, Jay, too often. Otherwise, you could end up spinning the car around and losing even more positions because you've only got Jamo a few seconds back. So, got to be careful as we go into the chicane. Let's see how he goes through the chicane here. Ooh, very squirmy on the way in, and then massive amounts of curb on the way out. So, definitely struggling with rear end grip there is Jay Hewson. You can see the back end of the car just wanting to step out, and with a mid-engine car, the last thing you want is a snappy rear end on a car, because with the engine being at the mid or mid to rear as it is, usually the engine is towards the back, and because the weight is towards the back, you can't quite get a 50-50 weight distribution. It's like a 60-40 towards the rear. It doesn't tend to help balance when the tyres go off, because if it's going to step out, it's going to step out a lot. A bit like the pendulum effect. As we look at Jamo with RZR Blade catching him. So Jamo's gone off the pace as well. So I wonder if Jamo's in tyre trouble as well. I know they're a harder compound, but it's how the balance of the car changes towards the end of the race. As we look at Neil Farmack, who's still not let Neil Stig out of his sight. So he's doing well, Neil, here. To say he's keeping up with Neo Stig is very, very good, because considering Neo Stig's background in league racing and top end esports. Or at least I think esports anyway. I heard something mentioned about it, but I'll not going to say that it is when it's not. But he's done some other league racing, Neo Stig, and he's been quite good. Won a lot of stuff in the past, and it's good to see our guys keeping up with him. But that just shows you the difference of when you've got one person who can spend quite a while on a setup and someone who comes on literally and has an hour to set up the car. So not bad, very good for Neil Farmack to keep up with Neo Stig. As we check out Footman with Jay Hewson closing up behind him. There he is with lights ablaze in the orange and blue Audi. Approaching the first corner. Let's have a little bit further back. We've got RZR Blade catching Jamo. So let's stay with this for a few laps and see what happens here. In towards the Castrol S hairpin. Working his way in. This is where RZR Blade spun earlier, but he gets it round successfully this time. Only 1.4 seconds to Jamo in front, in between 1 to 1.4 seconds averaging out. So he's on the move. He's definitely trying to close him down. You can see the car just wanting to understeer around there, and then out of that corner, plenty of curb out of that corner as they go down towards the hairpin. Let's go on board with RZR Blade and see how he's catching him up. So we're going on the roof cam. Let's have a look as we go through the hairpin, and we come up to RTL curve, which is this left, and then we've got bit curve, the one after. Ooh, runs very wide there, brings it back across, and then this is bit curve onto the straight, very wide line. Just needs to tighten up the apexes a bit, and it should do fine. As we will have a look now on board with. He's on the brakes. Oh no, he's lost it. RZR Blade over the grass. Not really getting any advantage there. He's lost a bit of time there. Lost a half second, but that's what happens. He's gets it wrong on the brakes, and then straight forward over the grass, and then couldn't really do anything from there. We'll go back to the trackside cameras. There's Jamo, 8th place. So let's give a little run through. Then we've got Neil Stig in the lead, followed by Neil Farmack there in 2nd place. Still only 1.5 seconds behind. Still keeping Neil Stig honest. There's TY, only 3.5 seconds behind the lead, and he's still within visual sight of his teammate. There's Flying Flapper for the 2nd one for Team Red in 4th place, and then Bidster, first of Team Orange, in 5th place. Footman in 6th place. Jay Hewson, 2nd of Team Orange, in 7th place. Jamo in 8th place for Team White. Sorry, for Team Yellow, sorry. It's a white coloured car, but yeah, Team Yellow. RZR Blade, not in a team at the minute, but still going around strong for individual points. So is Danny Quaver. Danny Quaver's not in a team because he doesn't know how many races he can make this season, so running just as an independent. And over the curb, that's not how you want to brake for that corner, Danny. You need to get right off that curb before you do go into it. And then Stevie in 11th place, just being lapped by Bidster, who just ahead. And then we've got Bidster. Oh, little error there from Bidster. So Bidster's really struggling with the balance of the car here, so he'll not want to let Stevie back through. Even though Stevie's all over the back of him, wondering if he can actually get past, but he's being lapped, so he shouldn't really attempt any overtaking manoeuvre. He should stay behind Bidster no matter what his pace, unless it is dramatically slow. But no, Bidster comes around the hairpin with Stevie behind and out of it, so it looks like he's cleaned it up a bit now. Just a few little errors there, but nothing too much to worry about. There's Jamo. Let's have a look at there's Team Blue. Neil in front, TY behind with the lights on, into the hairpin. Neil Stig's gapped him now by about 3 seconds, so Neil Stig pulling ahead of Neil Farmack and TY, who are doing well for Team Blue, bringing in some consistent points. So if Neil Stig wasn't in the race, they'd be 1-2, but Neil Stig is in the race, and he's pulled out a 3-second gap, gone down to 8th with a spin, and then gone into the lead. Made it look really easy, almost too easy in some cases. As we've got Flying Flapper there in 4th. Working his way around the Mercedes arena. Sorry, it's a bit bland at the minute, ladies and gentlemen. It's just how the races pan out sometimes, but still, one mistake could change the order of some people, so we'll keep an eye on things. There's Jay Hewson in the 2nd Team Orange car, working his way around the Mercedes arena. Let's have a little ride on board with Jay Hewson. Let's see how he's going in towards the little curves at the exit of the Mercedes arena. Coming down towards the little hairpin. Drops downhill here. Really careful not to get the power on too early and spin it up. And everything all good out of there. Round the RTL curve, and then round bit curve. Out to the outside, back towards the inside, and then back to the outside again to get optimal racing line. And then down the straight, putting the power on. Flat out through this right hand kink. Heading up towards the chicane, the Vidal chicane, 100 metre board, slam on the brakes, into the corner, avoid the first sausage curb, hit the second one, and then up towards Coca-Cola curve, which is the last corner. A little bit of a twitch of oversteer there, so the car just twitch a little bit, but nothing that'll worry Jay Hewson too much as we start another lap. Back to trackside. As we have a look now at Neil, oh, Neil Stig must have made a mistake because Neil's closed up, so we'll get a replay on what happened to Stig there. Here's a replay of what happened on lap 26 to Neil Stig to lose 2.5 seconds. He goes on the curb completely sideways, and that's how he lost a load of time to Neil. As we resume the battle, there's Neil Farmack within visual range of Neil Stig, so he's not got away with it too much, not had it his own way too much in this race, Neil Stig, despite the incredible pace. Still got Team Blue waiting for any other mistakes that happen as we start lap 27. Just a reminder again that the replay unfortunately will end on the end of lap 29, but I'll fill you in on what happened in the last 2 laps at the end. As we go around the Mercedes arena, looking at Neil, trying to catch Neil Stig. And TY just falling behind a little bit. Took about half a second. He's just lost about half a second to Neil in that little complex there. As they work their way around the hairpin. Out the other side, careful on the camber, very careful on the power. It's a very easy corner to catch yourself out on. And everyone else is still quite spread out down the field, so we'll just stick with this leading bunch for now. As they work their way out of bit curve, coming down towards the little kink, the Bogan kink, and down towards the Vidal chicane, or up towards, should I say, because it goes slightly uphill, as you can see there from the camera. As they go into it, Neil bashing the curves a bit more now, so he's really trying, really pushing on hard. There's TY in the background, a little bit of a squirm like that last corner, but cleans himself up and out of it to start another lap. Starting lap 28. There we go, lap 28. Coming down towards the Castrol S hairpin. On the brakes. Which Neil Stig seems to have perfected as we keep watching Neil go round. And we've got Footman there in 6th place, just watching that gap because it's only 3 seconds behind Jay Hewson. We should see him come through shot in a minute. There he is in the background. So one mistake from Footman and he's lost 6th place, so we've just got to keep an eye on this as well, just to make sure we don't miss anything. As we've flashed his lights, Jay Houston in the background is trying to put Footman off if he looks in his mirror. As they come out of the Vidal chicane towards Coca-Cola curve. And there's a look at Bidster, there he is, in 5th place, trying to catch Flying Flapper, but he's 5 seconds behind at the minute, so still pushing on just in case there's any mistake in these last 4 laps, 3 or 4 laps. And there's Flying Flapper, so you can see Bidster behind. So one mistake from Flapper and he'll have Bidster all over the back end, so he doesn't want to make any mistakes. Keep it nice, keep it clean, and just keep it going. Just focus on every single corner, every single apex, try not to miss a beat. Easier said than done, I can safely say. Because this car, a lot of people had sweaty backs and sweaty bums after this race. Because it was such hard work, such mental concentration as well required to drive these cars around here. I know it sounds daft for a video game, but honestly, a lot of us are on Logitech G29 wheels or Thrustmasters, so we run the highest force feedback we can get away with without it killing the motors in the wheels, so we do like it replicated. As Neil Stig goes to start lap 29, so at the end of this lap 29 the video unfortunately will cut short, but I will give a brief commentary on what happened at the end, and I'll give you the final standings and results as we watch Neil Stig go around. And then let's have a look quickly at Flying Flapper, and Bidster is only a couple of seconds behind now, so Flapper's made an error somewhere. Bidster's caught up, so he's a couple of seconds behind. Unfortunately, this is going to cut away, but I'll fill you in on what happens in a minute as we look at them go into the first corner. So let's have a look. Neil Stig coming out that little, coming out of bit curve, and behind we've got Team Blue quite close now. So Team Blue are going to have a little scrap starting to brew as we come into the chicane. What will be for us visually the last time, unfortunately. So hopefully Project Cars 2 can get this sorted for future. As Neil's defending now from TY, got to defend. Such a shame that the replay is going to cut short. As they go out of this corner, I'm going to have to pause it there, ladies and gentlemen, otherwise we're not going to see the end. So unfortunately the replay, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, we've got 6 seconds left on the replay. So unfortunately we can't see anything else that happens, but all I can tell you is that Neo Stig won the race. Neil actually finished in 2nd place. He actually held off TY to the end of that race. So TY was 3rd, and then 4th was Flying Flapper, then it was Bidster, and then it was Footman, followed by Jay Hewson, then it was Jamo, and then RZR Blade. I'm just pausing for a minute because I was just looking through on my spreadsheet at the side of me, and then it was Danny Quaver, and then it was Stevie, and then Blakeney. So that was the order that they finished. And I can tell you now that the championship points are like this. Neil Farmack is still in the lead of the championship on 183 points. Then we've got TY in 2nd place on 154. Bidster on 119 points. And then Jamo on 106. That's your top 4. And then Team Blue are way ahead, 337 points from Team Orange's 212. So that's what happened in that race, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, the race did cut short. I do apologise, and hopefully Project Cars can fix it for next time. Thank you for tuning in to Neo Racing. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.